We will see market downturns. We will see inflation. We will see taxes and healthcare events into our future. We need to plan for them today.
Peter, very good to see you. Welcome back to everyone. Today we're going to talk about why a financial plan matters more than ever for retirement readiness. Despite ongoing concerns about inflation, debt, and the rising cost of living, many Americans remain surprisingly optimistic about their financial future. But that confidence has a clear link, which is planning. In the latest Wealth Watch survey, it's clear that working with a professional makes all the difference when it comes to saving for retirement. So according to this, Peter, this latest Wealth Watch, fewer adults report having retirement savings compared to late 2023, 36 versus 41%. What do you think is driving the drop?
Well, I think it's more difficult to squeeze out a thing that is not an immediate priority when things have become more expensive. But I think we all want to be excited about the prospects of retirement, about having more free time, about having the ability to live life on our terms and do what we want and maybe take those vacations when right now during our working career, we're trading our time for money and we're tied up with that obligation. And we hope that at some point in time on the scale of balance, we've got enough money and time to live life and enjoy it. And there's a lot to be excited about that. But then there's also inflation and taxes and healthcare and market volatility and what's up in Washington and a lot to be nervous about that goes along with that. So, I'm happy to see that Americans are still confident about retirement, but I think that the numbers kind of bear out that for many of us, that may be overconfidence or a false sense of confidence because we don't have the plan to back up the confidence. And we really need to look at how we are setting ourselves up so that we can securely have a rightful sense of confidence about our financial future.
Well, maybe this number won't surprise you. Only 19% of people have a retirement strategy in place. Why do you think so few people have that plan? And what's the difference between having savings, having a nest egg, and having a plan?
Yeah, I think that probably a much higher percentage of people have some savings and have some investing going. But when you talk about a plan, that is different than just the tools. And I'm going to give the analogy of building a house. If I was going to build a house, I would not be doing it myself. I do not have that expertise. I would have many different people coming in, but they would probably all be under the guise and oversight of some contractor that I have hired. And that contractor would have a blueprint for me, a vision of here's what we intend to build into the future. That is the plan. I'm not going to hire a guy who just shows up with a hammer, although the hammer is going to likely be an important tool in putting together what the vision of the blueprint shows. The blueprint is the plan. And similarly, in our financial lives, a lot of people have important tools. They've got the 401k, they've got the savings, they've got the IRA, but they have not brought those tools together into the true picture of what they envision for themselves in retirement. What do these tools mean? How will I use them? How do they work? And to what end will I utilize each tool? So we really need to back up from just I am doing some saving or I am doing some investing. And that 19% of people, like those are the ones that have sat down, I would say likely with a professional who has seen the transition to retirement many, many, many times over and said, okay, how does each tool that I have available to me work best for me to achieve my financial goals into my vision of the future?
Well, and you've led me right into my next question. People who work with a professional are more than twice as likely to have retirement savings and a strategy and far more confident in reaching their goals, 84 versus 58%. So how does that relationship lead to more confidence and better savings?
Well, I think that sitting down with a professional, you really focus on your vision of what someday looks like, right? What one day in the future really looks like. And everybody wants that someday where they have the freedom to just hit the road, or take time and doing their hobbies or their passion rather than going to work. But we're also worried about that someday that the market might lose 25%, that someday where inflation is back up at highs, that someday that we might have a healthcare event, right? The two different sides of what might happen someday. And I think that if we've sat down with a professional, we are probably much more on that higher end percentage that we've thought both sides of this through, and we hope for the best, but we have specifically planned for the worst. We've sat down with somebody, a financial professional who has seen what has and can go wrong in retirement and laid out specific plans for how we intend to address those things. Whereas for a lot of people, they hope that retirement is good. We talked to, the first stat was that we're more confident than ever. We're enthusiastic about retirement, but we actually are far less confident in reaching those goals because we haven't thought through some of those negatives, some of those things that can and ultimately will happen. We will see market downturns. We will see inflation. We will see taxes and healthcare events into our future. We need to plan for them today so that we can make the someday that we dream about and envision.
Right. Well, and you just hit on this, bears repeating, inflation. This was the number one concern for these people polled. Top of mind, 49% said inflation impacted their finances the most in 2024. So how do you help clients manage those challenges, just paying the bills while still planning and saving for the future?
Yeah, we've got to have the balance, right? And I think that this may be just a little bit of recency biased here, because if we have seen a significant market downturn, that probably would have been the top concern. And healthcare doesn't hit everyone all at once, but if it did, that would be the top concern. Inflation hit all of us, right? And it's fresh. It's still a wound that is healing here. And we are adjusting to the fact that life is now more expensive, and this inflation was not as temporary or transitory as they said. And life is likely going to not only remain more expensive, but continue to get more expensive even from here. That's how inflation works. And a lot of people not only did not have the pay to adjust and remain as comfortable within their margins during their working years, but also have not really thought through how much more expensive things can get in retirement and have not worked that into their plan. And retirees are actually specifically more prone to the impacts of inflation. They do not have a job that they can go back to and say, life has gotten more expensive. Where is my annual raise? They've got a finite amount of money and an unknown amount of time to make it last. And life gets more expensive on retirees over time. This has to be worked into your financial and retirement plan, specifically when you're talking about some of the items for retirees, healthcare in particular, are the items that are going even further, far and above the average rate of inflation on other items. Those expenses are getting astronomically more expensive. So we really need to look at these factors and, again, just formulate the plan. The investments are fantastic. This generation has done a great job in earning a living during their careers and understanding the importance of investing. But we really have to formulate a plan with all of these tools that we have available to have lasting financial confidence.
And just to circle back to one of the bigger takeaways from the Wealth Watch, planning is key to increasing savings and feeling more confident. So what is the first step then to create that retirement strategy? When is the right time for people to reach out for professional help?
I mean, I think that thinking about retirement, planning for retirement, really should start the very first day that you go to work. You go to work, you realize, hey, I don't want to do this forever. Let's start planning as soon as possible. Now, for most people, it doesn't, but somewhere in their 30s or 40s, they really begin to realize, I won't be able to do this forever, nor do I want to. Let's make sure that I've got a plan in place. Now, hopefully, some kind of investing starts as soon as you start working. As soon as you've got access to the 401k or an IRA, you should start utilizing it. But really formulating that plan should start as early as possible as well. I'd say sometime in your mid 30s to mid 40s really is an opportune time, but no matter where you're at, it's never too early, it's never too late. And wherever you are, you need a plan that addresses income, investing, taxes, healthcare, legacy, and how all of those are going to come together to give you your goal and your vision of the future.
So, Peter, if somebody would like to sit down with you, make sure that they are on track for their retirement and their own savings goals, what's the best way to reach you?
We do offer that opportunity as a courtesy service to listeners and viewers of the show. So there's no cost, no obligation for a conversation. We'll figure out where you're at, where you want to be, and then we offer to put together the optimized retirement plan. It does address all of those 5 pillars. No cost. So give me a call, 919-300-5886, 919-300-5886, or you can go online, RichonPlanning.com. That looks like Rich on Planning, but it's RichonPlanning.com.
Peter, thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Hey folks, Peter Richon here with Richon Planning. So glad that you are enjoying the podcast, Planning Matters Radio. You know, one of the tools that we've put out there that people really seem to appreciate and really are finding of value is at 919retired.com. It is your retirement tax bill calculator. If you've got any kind of retirement account, your tax deferred, 401k or IRA, this is the website, this is the resource where you can go, you can plug in your own numbers, your information, you can slide the tool calculator up and down for your tax rate or your amount of savings and see what your tax bill is likely to be if you default and defer to the IRS's plan versus what you could potentially bring that tax bill down to. A lot of times it is a very significant savings. So if you have not yet, go to the website 919retired.com, run your numbers on the retirement tax bill calculator.
This has been Planning Matters Radio.
The content of this radio show is provided for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. You are encouraged to seek investment, tax, or legal advice from an independent professional advisor. Any investments and/or investment strategies mentioned involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. Advisory services offered through Brookzone Capital Management, a registered investment advisor.
Fiduciary duty extends solely to investment advisory advice and does not extend to other activities such as insurance or broker-dealer services. Advisory clients are charged a quarterly fee for assets under management, while insurance products pay a commission, which may result in a conflict of interest regarding compensation.